at Wounded Knee follows the story of the conflict between the Sioux tribe and the white settlers. The white settlers impede on the Sioux lands and try to implement unfair treaties. Internal strife in the Sioux tribe and external strife between the tribe and the whites incites violence. The story also follows an Indian turned doctor, Dr. Eastman, who fights for Native American rights, and his partnership with Massachusetts Senator Henry L. Dawes, who attempts to cooperate with both the whites and the Sioux. This snapshot of American history follows the broader scope of the events which shaped Native American lives and the settlement of the West.
We connected this movie to AP Content Outline Concept 1.32, which states that Native peoples and Africans in the Americas strove to maintain their political and cultural autonomy in the face of European challenges to their independence and core beliefs. This is represented in the movie as the Native Americans try to remain independent of the treaties and restrictions invading their daily lives. The whites, however, are relentless in asking, and then forcing their demands on the Native Americans, each time more and more without having Native American cooperation. The Native Americans try to hunt on the lands they've always hunted on and live without the oppressive forces dictating their lives. Although the United States is founded on the principles of the rights of life, liberty, and property, the most basic rights are absent for the entirety of Native American occupation of Western lands.
This movie also connects to AP Content Outline Concept 2.2, which states that European colonization in North America stimulated intercultural contact and intensified conflict between the various groups of colonizers and native peoples. The movie specifically follows the contact and conflict between European colonizers and the mistreated Native Americans who suffered as a result of the conflict. As shown in the movie, while the European colonizers move out west, specifically to Montana, their encounters turn violent as the land and resources were fought for. This was a common trend in American history as the incoming settlers fought against the previously settled Native Americans for their land. While these encounters shaped and ultimately destroyed Native American cultures, they had little effect on the cultures and lives of those invading their lands.
The most important piece of information that we took away from this film was the fact that the United States continuously went back on treaties that they had agreed upon with the Sioux tribe. One example of this is when U.S. officials, including Senator Dawes, came to Chief Red Cloud's camp to have him sign a new treaty, the Dawes Commission, giving the United States the sacred Black Hills and hunting grounds that the Sioux had lived on for many years. In order to make the Native Americans agree to the New Deal, Dawes told Red Cloud that he must touch pen to the paper or his people will perish. The United States was in the midst of a depression at the time, and it was discovered that the Black Hills contained gold, so they felt the need to restructure the original treaty at the expense of the natives in order to take the Black Hills. After the Native Americans realized that they were being swindled, they began to rebel by not accepting the terms that the white presented. This is evident near the end of the movie, when the final offer of the Dawes Act is presented to the natives. This offer takes most of the native land at $1.25 an acre. Although they are again faced with the threat of having their land forcibly taken from them, leaders Sitting Bull and Red Cloud stand up for the rights of the natives as human beings and refuse to agree to any more treaties that violate the rights they believe that they have. Although the natives never agreed to this deal, over the 47 years that it was pending, they lost 90 million acres, or two-thirds of the land that they had in 1887.
The film accurately portrayed the strained relationship between the Americans and the Native Americans at the time. The events are historically accurate, and the film was able to successfully show how mistreated the Native Americans were by the whites, all while sticking to the facts and avoiding excess dramatization and fabrication. In terms of bias, it's to be expected that an American film may be biased towards our own people, but the film is able to minimize bias and portray the dishonorable and ruthless actions of the whites as they truly occurred. Although the film was a rather useful tool for learning about U.S. history, some prior knowledge, specifically about events such as the Battle of Little Bighorn or just knowledge regarding historical context at the time, will help make the movie even more successful as a learning tool. For example, prior knowledge regarding the Indians' landslide victory over General Custer at Custer's Last Stand and American resentment of the Native Americans following the battle led to further mistreatment of the Native peoples, and this can help students further understand the motivation and cruelty of the whites. The film also portrays how the whites used ideas like manifest destiny or the American belief that it is their God-given right to expand from sea to shining sea to justify the seizure of Sioux lands for economic benefit through gold and the development of railroads.
In 1980, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the 1876 seizure of the Black Hills violated treaties signed with the Sioux. In majority opinion, Justice Blackmun wrote, A more ripe and rank case of dishonorable dealings will never, in all probability, be found in our history. The movie used this to accurately depict the mistreatment of Native Americans by the whites.